Good Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this hump day. We have the truth of the day with Mary Ellen CIganovich, and in today's entertainment spotlight, you've been part of my conversation with journalist and author Paul Sexton about his new book about Prince. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Wednesday headlines. In Mississippi news, light at the end of the tunnel. COVID-19 numbers drop in Mississippi. The number of COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations are dropping in the Magnolia State. The Mississippi State Department of Health on Tuesday reported 704 new COVID-19 cases and 21 additional deaths. 6 of the deaths were reported on September the 4th and 6th, and 15 deaths occurred between August the 4th and September the 1st. State Health Officer Dr. Thomas Dobbs and Dr. Paul Beer said last week that Mississippi's COVID-19 numbers look to be stabilizing. On Tuesday, Dobbs posted a graph on Twitter that shows a decline in the 7-day moving average for confirmed COVID-19 hospital admissions and cases from May 7th to September the 6th. Light at the end of the tunnel, Dobbs tweeted. Please stay safe. Health system still overburdened, and sadly, many more will die unnecessarily, he tweeted. Mississippi's vaccination rate has increased, but is still one of the lowest in the country. In more COVID-19 news, COVID-19 boosters are coming, but who will get them and when? COVID-19 booster shots may be coming for at least some Americans, but already the Biden administration is being forced to scale back expectations, illustrating just how much important science still has to be worked out. The initial plan was to offer Pfizer or Moderna boosters starting September the 20th, contingent on authorization from U.S. regulators. But now administration officials acknowledge Moderna boosters probably won't be ready by then. The Food and Drug Administration needs more evidence to judge them. Adding to the complexity, Moderna wants its booster to be half the dose of the original shot. As for Pfizer's booster, who really needs another dose right now isn't a simple decision either. What ultimately recommended for an 80-year-old vaccinated back in December may be different than for a 35-year-old immunized in the spring, who likely would get a stronger immunity boost by waiting longer for another shot. FDA's scientific advisors will publicly debate Pfizer's evidence on September the 17th, just 3 days before the administration's target. If the FDA approves another dose, then advisors to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention will recommend who should get one. In more national news, Hurricane Ida power outages, misery persists 9 days later. Hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses in Louisiana, most of them outside New Orleans, still didn't have power on Tuesday, and more than half of the gas stations in 2 major cities were without fuel 9 days after Hurricane Ida slammed into the state. There were also persistent signs of recovery, however, as the total number of people without electricity has fallen from more than 1 million at its peak, while hundreds of thousands of people have had their water restored. AT&T, which suffered widespread cell phone outages after the storm, reported that its wireless network now is operating normally in Louisiana. As residents struggle to recover, state organizations, church groups, and volunteers labored for a 9th day on Tuesday to hand out food, water, and other necessary supplies to those left without resources when their homes were destroyed or left uninhabitable. In international news, Taliban form all-male Afghan government of old guard members. The Taliban on Tuesday announced an all-male interim government for Afghanistan, stacked with veterans of their hardline rule from the 1990s and the 20-year battle against the U.S.-led coalition, a move that seems unlikely to win the international support the new leaders desperately need to avoid an economic meltdown. Appointed to the key post of Interior Minister was an individual who is on the FBI's most wanted list with a $5 million bounty on his head and is believed to still be holding at least one American hostage. He headed a network that is blamed for many deadly attacks and kidnappings. The announcement came hours after the Taliban fired their guns into the air to disperse protesters in the capital of Kabul and arrested several journalists, the second time in less than a week that heavy-handed tactics were used to break up a demonstration. And finally, in business news, Elizabeth Holmes' trial to dissect downfall of a tech star. 6 years ago, Elizabeth Holmes seemed destined to fulfill her dream of becoming Silicon Valley's next superstar. She was the subject of Business Magazine cover stories describing her as the youngest self-made female billionaire in history. Former President Bill Clinton was quizzing her about her thoughts on technology, and then Vice President Joe Biden was hailing her ideas as an inspiration. Now Holmes is about to head into a San Jose, California courtroom to defend herself against criminal allegations depicting her as a devious mastermind of a fraud that duped wealthy investors, former U.S. government officials, and patients whose lives were endangered by a blood testing technology that never came close to fulfilling her bold promises. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's our time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen CIganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Believe in your success. When you develop a mindset of belief in your success, it triggers unconscious support programs in your brain to help bring your goal to life. Your mind is set up to give you an action plan toward fulfilling your goal. Beliefs tend to change depending on time, place, and circumstance. No matter what is going on around you, a belief mindset for success will give you much-needed possibilities to overcome any obstacle. Although you have been taught to trust your physical senses, a belief you will succeed can free you to see what other people doubt. Belief, like faith, is based knowing without evidence. Today, choose to believe in your success as you allow God to guide you. And enjoy the day.
Journalist and author Paul Sexton is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight, right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Journalist and author Paul Sexton joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about his new book, Prince, a portrait of the artist in memories and memorabilia. Here's a bit of our conversation. What has it been like for you to see the way that already, Paul, people are resonating with this book?
It's really exciting, Cyrus. You know, that was a lovely event that we had the other evening, as you say, last Thursday night. I'm the patron of a venue in South London called the Sound Lounge, which was just a perfect location to have this event. And I decided to go a bit ambitious and make it a little bit multimedia. So we had no fewer than 5 artists playing live, all doing Prince songs, a couple each. And then we had some Prince videos playing, and also I had some clips from a radio documentary that I made about Prince for the BBC, for BBC Radio 2 in the UK, which actually, in a funny way, is the origin of the book, because a lot of the interviews which have gone on to be featured in the new book originated from that documentary, which obviously I augmented afterwards, but that was the starting point for it. And interestingly enough, somebody from a publishing company heard the show on national UK radio, and it kind of, the book idea developed from there.
Well, it is such a remarkable book, and I love the subtitle of it, Paul, A Portrait of the Artist in Memories and Memorabilia, because, we see everything from the cassette tapes to the, to these remarkable photos. What was it like for you to be able to pull all of this together?
Well, it's wonderful. This is the value of working with a publishing company who have a great team, and I'm going to immediately deflect all of the credit for the way that the book looks to those people, because my job obviously was the narrative and text. I work closely with a picture editor in the early stages of the book who, you have guys like that who are just, and girls who are so experienced at finding these images.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News, but we'll have you guys on tomorrow for news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen CIganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.